All right, so get ready, because today we are diving headfirst into the architecture of New York City.
That's right. We're talking about the buildings, the styles, the whole evolution of this amazing city.
Yeah, and we've got some incredible source material to help us on this journey.
Like blueprints and historical records.
We've even got some cutting-edge AI analysis, all thanks to this awesome article from Cobblestones to Skylines.
Tracing New York City's architectural evolution with AI.
That's right, so it's going to be wild.
It really is, like peeling back the layers, seeing how each era, each generation left its own mark.
And it's not just about, like, pretty buildings, right? It's more than that.
Yeah, it's about the soul of New York.
Yeah, how these structures reflect, I don't know, like the soul of the city.
Absolutely. From those humble beginnings to, well, the sky-high ambitions.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's easy to just be overwhelmed by the sheer scale of it all, right?
Oh, definitely. It's a lot to take in.
But if we start at the beginning, we can actually trace the influence all the way to, well, to today.
To right now, yeah.
So let's rewind way back to the 1600s.
Way back.
Back when New York was New Amsterdam.
Before the skyscrapers. Before pretty much everything we picture when we think New York, really.
Right. So what did the architecture even look like back then?
Think of it as practicality first.
Practicality.
These Dutch settlers, they were all about sturdy homes.
Right. Got to
Yeah.
withstand the elements.
Exactly. So thick brick walls, steeply pitched roofs.
Ah, so basically they brought their European style with them.
Yeah, very much so. You can see those roots in the design.
And get this, some of those buildings are still standing.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Imagine that. The Wyckoff House in Brooklyn.
Right there in Brooklyn.
A farmhouse from the 1650s, just tucked away in modern Brooklyn.
It's like a time capsule, a little glimpse into daily life way back then.
So cool.
The Wyckoff House, it has that gambrel roof. It's kind of distinctive.
Yeah.
And it was like a smart way to get more space, Up in the attic, they could store stuff.
Always.
Remember, these folks were all about building a life, a new life in this new world.
A whole new world.
So every inch of space mattered.
Talk about making the most of what you've got.
Right.
I mean, kind of like squeezing a luxury penthouse onto a sliver of Manhattan real estate, huh?
Well, the scale might be different, but the drive's kind of similar, yeah.
That's a good point. And what about that European influence? Is that visible in other buildings?
Oh, definitely. You can see it in St. Mark's Church in the Bowery.
Okay. St. Mark's Church in the Bowery.
It was built in 1799.
Wow.
Arched windows, a simple facade. It really echoes those Dutch churches they left behind.
Very cool. So, okay, fast forward a couple of centuries. Things start, well, they start shooting skyward.
Yeah, skyscrapers start popping up everywhere.
What happened? What triggered that whole skyscraper boom?
Well, it was a few things coming together all at once, Huge influx of people.
Right, a population explosion.
Booming economy, limited land.
So the only way to go was up.
Exactly, up. But it's not just about stacking floors, though.
Right.
These early skyscrapers, they had to come up with some pretty radical new ideas.
Oh, in terms of engineering and design?
Yeah, they had to figure out how to make these things work.
It's a whole new challenge.
Steel frame construction was a game changer, totally changed the game.
Why? What did it do?
Well, all of a sudden you could build taller but also lighter.
Oh, wow, that makes sense.
And then, the elevator comes along.
Right, now you can actually get to those upper floors.
Suddenly they're accessible, desirable.
And that's when we see the birth of those iconic early skyscrapers.
You got the Flatiron Building, 1902.
Right, love the Flatiron Building.
Woolworth Building, 1913.
But what about the engineering challenges, though? I mean, it's got to be safe, right?
Oh, huge challenge, absolutely. Wind load, that was a major concern.
Wind load.
The taller you build, the more the wind pushes on it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So engineers, they had to figure out new ways to calculate those forces,
Right, make sure the building can actually withstand it.
Right. And design structures that could handle it.
It's like they were pioneers.
Pushing the limits of what was possible.
And you could really see that ambition in the designs themselves. Like the Flatiron Building?
The Flatiron, yeah.
That triangular shape, so unique.
Oh, it was a statement piece, for sure. Like a symbol of progress, innovation.
But I bet not everyone loved it.
Oh, it definitely sparked some debate. Some people loved the unique form, others thought it was impractical.
Even dangerous, maybe.
Maybe even dangerous, yeah.
So even back then, they argued about what a building should look like, what it should be for.
That's right. Form versus function.
Sounds familiar, huh?
Oh, yeah. Especially in New York. Space is precious.
Every inch of it?
And as that race to build higher and higher heated up, architects started experimenting.
Right. New materials, new styles.
And that's where we get to the Chrysler Building.
1930.
1930, completed.
Now that's a building that's not afraid to stand out.
Oh, yeah.
Those Art Deco details.
The spire.
It's like, hey, look at me.
Exactly. It's instantly recognizable.
So iconic.
And the Chrysler Building is really interesting because it kind of bridges two different eras.
Oh, how so?
It's got those elements from the earlier, more utilitarian skyscrapers, but it's also like hinting at what's coming next.
What's coming next?
The Art Deco movement.
About to sweep the city.
It's on the horizon.
So, okay, let's talk Art Deco. The roaring 20s, the 30s.
Glamour, excess.
How does that translate into the architecture, though?
Oh, it's all about opulence, optimism, celebrating that whole machine age.
Right, the machine age.
Geometric patterns, luxurious materials like chrome, marble.
Wow.
And those stylized decorations.
Yeah, like stepping into a vintage movie set.
Exactly.
Think about the Empire State Building, 1931.
Oh, yeah.
Not just tall, it's elegant, with those setbacks, the gleaming steel.
A sense of movement.
And then Rockefeller Center.
The whole complex.
The whole complex, finished in 1939.
Sleek lines, intricate details.
It's a city within a city.
Exactly. Ambition and wealth on full display.
And we can't forget Radio City Music Hall, 1932.
Oh, the crowds pouring into that opulent theater.
Can you imagine?
Art Deco wasn't just about how things looked, though.
It was about the whole experience.
The feeling, the sense of wonder.
Embracing the future.
Absolutely.
But then, boom, World War II hits.
Yeah, things change pretty drastically.
I imagine the mood shifted, too. How did that impact architecture in the city?
Well, it's kind of fascinating, actually. You get this, sense of austerity in the post-war years.
Austerity.
You know, a need to rebuild, a need for something new. And that's reflected in the international style.
International style. So that's kind of formal.
It is, but it's a big shift from all that Art Deco ornamentation and grandeur. Think clean lines, minimalist, function over form.
So like a complete 180 from what came before.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like hitting the reset button.
And what better symbol for that than the UN headquarters?
Oh, perfect example. Completed in 52.
52.
Glass and steel. A total contrast to those ornate skyscrapers of the 20s and 30s.
Embracing a new era.
Right. A forward-looking vision, global cooperation.
I bet not everyone was happy about that style shift, though.
Oh, for sure. Some people loved Art Deco.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful.
It is, but it also represents a specific time.
Yeah.
And change is always hard.
Plus, I imagine there were concerns about losing the city's architectural history.
Absolutely. The late 20th century, that was a turning point for preservation in New York.
The article mentions the fight to save Grand Central Terminal.
Oh, yeah, the 70s.
Talk about a battle. What was at stake there?
It was more than just a building, really. It was about history, about recognizing the landmarks that tell the story of a city.
It's like a symbol of New York itself.
Exactly, that ambition, that grandeur. And it sparked a bigger conversation,
About?
What makes a city worth living in? Is it all about progress and efficiency? Or is there room for history, beauty, a sense of place?
Makes you think about all the buildings that have been lost.
Yeah.
But also makes you appreciate the ones we saved.
Absolutely. And that brings us to today, to this fascinating mix of old and new that you see all over the city.
Yeah, you've got skyscrapers going up all the time.
Always pushing higher.
But we're also more aware of our architectural heritage.
We're trying to find that balance,
Like with the High Line.
Oh, the High Line. What a great example.
Turning an abandoned railway into this incredible park.
Proof that new doesn't have to erase the past.
It's like the city's always having this conversation with itself.
Between different eras, different styles.
Different visions of what city life can be.
And now there's a new voice in that conversation.
Oh, who's that?
Artificial intelligence.
Wait, AI and architecture? How did that even work?
AI is changing everything, the way we understand the world around us.
Sure, but are we talking like robots designing buildings now?
Not quite, but AI is a powerful tool.
In what way?
It can analyze tons of data, way more than a human could ever process. Building codes, environmental conditions, all sorts of stuff. And then it can generate design options, optimize for efficiency, sustainability.
Even aesthetics?
Yeah, it's like having this super-powered research assistant helping architects push the boundaries.
But are we going to end up with all these cookie-cutter buildings then?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
We need to be careful, make sure AI enhances human creativity, not replaces it.
So the architect is still in control.
Absolutely. The vision, the concept, That all comes from the architect AI, just helps explore possibilities, refine those ideas.
Like a partnership, then.
Exactly. Humans and machines working together.
I mean, just think about the possibilities, buildings that adapt to the weather or learn from the people who use them.
Maybe even skyscrapers that blend into nature.
Wild.
It's exciting stuff. But we got to remember, architecture is about more than just technology.
Right.
It's about creating spaces for people, spaces that inspire, connect, elevate the human experience.
And that's something AI can't do, at least not yet.
Not yet. There's that intangible quality to great architecture, that soul, that comes from human creativity.
And as technology becomes more powerful, we can't lose sight of that.
Definitely. We need both the human vision and the technological tools.
So it's not just about building taller, it's about building better, with purpose.
And with an understanding of how those buildings impact people's lives.
Well said. And that brings us back to New York, this place where architecture is a constant conversation between past, present, and future.
It's all connected.
We've seen how the city's architecture reflects its ambitions, its struggles, its successes, but what does that tell us about the soul of New York?
I think it's the diversity, all those different styles and influences all smashed together in this crazy urban landscape.
Remnants of Dutch Colonial, the grandeur of Art Deco, the sleekness of the international style.
And it's not just the buildings themselves, it's how they interact with each other, with the streets, with the people.
It's that constant push and pull between old and new, between tradition and innovation.
And you can feel that energy when you walk the streets, when you look up at that skyline.
It's a city that's always evolving, always pushing boundaries.
And with AI entering the mix, who knows what's next?
Right, what's next? Makes you wonder, what will that skyline look like in 100 years?
Yeah.
Will it even be recognizable?
I think it'll be a bit of both, probably. Like, you'll still see those echoes of the past.
Yeah.
You know, the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, those iconic skyscrapers, they'll always be a part of the city's identity.
Right.
But we'll also see new forms emerging, I think, driven by tech, new ways of understanding what a city can be.
So, like, imagine skyscrapers that are more than just glass and steel.
Yeah, exactly. Buildings that, I don't know, maybe they generate their own energy or adapt to the environment in ways we haven't even thought of yet.
Right. That would be incredible.
You might even see buildings that blur the lines between, like, nature and architecture, structures with vertical gardens.
Oh, wow.
Whole ecosystems built right in, maybe even buildings that can change shape, you know.
Whoa. That's like something out of a movie.
I know, right? But then again, a lot of what we take for granted today probably would have seemed like science fiction a century ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I guess the possibilities really are endless.
It's exciting, and it just reminds you that architecture is alive. It's always evolving, reflecting our dreams, our challenges, everything.
You know, I used to just see buildings as, well, just buildings, static structures. But now I see them so differently.
How so?
It's like I understand the stories behind them, the people who built them, the dreams they had, the challenges they faced.
It's like each building has a history, its own narrative.
Yeah, and when you start to see those stories, the whole city comes alive.
Absolutely. It changes your whole perspective.
It makes you appreciate it all so much more. All the layers, all the different styling, all the incredible ingenuity that it took to build this city.
Yeah, it's remarkable, isn't it?
And to think, the story isn't over yet.
Not even close. Every new building, every innovation, it's all adding to the narrative.
Wow, I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm definitely going to be looking at the skyline with new eyes now.
Me too. And for our listeners who want to learn more about this incredible architectural journey, I highly recommend checking out the article that sparked this whole conversation.
Yeah, what was it called again?
From Cobblestones to Skylines, Tracing New York City's Architectural Evolution with AI.
A great read. Full of insights. Really makes you think.
Yeah, it's the perfect place to start if you want to, really understand how this city came to be.
So next time you're walking through New York, take a minute. Look up. Really look.
Think about those stories etched in the brick and steel.
And imagine what the future holds.
Because as we've seen today, it's more than just buildings, right?
More than just buildings. It's a testament to the human spirit, our creativity, our drive to reach for something more.
Our dreams taking shape in steel and glass.
That's beautiful. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the heart of New York City.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep looking up.